What's up, everybody? How are you? It's your boy Bill Forster on Real Talk Chronicles, checking in with you. Happy Wednesday. You know what we do? We have the round table. Brothers get together and we chop it up. Uh, and we just kick it and keep it just 100. Oh, I forgot to show the sponsors. Well, when Malika's not here, things happen. So the sponsors are Real Talk, Soft Illusions Art Gallery, Daily Arts of Survival Magazine, um, Ingram Taxes, Melba Wilson, Chocolat, also to Reggie Wells Quality Speakers, and I think I said the Daily Arts of Survival Magazine. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. Got some stuff I want to talk to you guys about tonight. And when I say this with all due respect. I want to talk about mass shootings. I want to talk about Caitlin Clark, and I want to talk about Angel Reese, and anything else you guys want to talk about. We can always talk about Trump. The fact that 34 counts. You've had Alvin Bragg on the show before. I will get him back. As you know, he is busy due to the things that happened. What do you feel about that? Hey, Vera, with the wonderful last name Forster. Does it make a difference to you? Do you care? Things of that magnitude. But I want to start off with my man Kev and find out how he's doing. How you doing, Kev? I think Kevin's muted.
So yes, I was trying to get set up. I'm doing well, Bill.
Good. Beautiful day yesterday, not today, but it is what it is. If you're not a member, if you're not subscribed to it, please subscribe to it. If you are, then please share it. Let people know this is what we talk about, how we get in, and if there's anything you guys want to talk about, please type it in so we can talk about it, cover it. Kev, he's stepping away. That's okay. Like I said, Caitlin Clark came out and she spoke out and said, she felt Angel Reese was not getting her just respect due to the backlash of her trash talking. And Caitlin Clark said she trash talked. So we got to really blame that on the media. Trash talking is part of the game in any sport. For those that don't know that, shame on you. Then that means you haven't played sports. There's a level of respect when it comes to trash talking. Some people can take it a little further than others, but the bottom line is here is a white woman that talked trash. And when the black woman did it, she got scrutinized by the media. Caitlin came out and she said she felt that was unfair of Angel. She said she's a fan of hers and she thought that was just unfair. So, Larry Bird, for those that watch basketball, they said Larry Bird was a notorious trash talker and he backed it up. The bottom line is don't talk it if you can't walk it, right? But the bottom line is it's unjust, unfair that we still live in a country that the powers that be want to demonize a woman of color, because that's basically what it was, a woman of color, for doing the same thing. She didn't disrespect Caitlin. She never talked bad about Caitlin. She just did the same gesture Caitlin did. And that gesture has been going on since John Cena and Flavor Flav. And it's not a derogatory thing, but they wanted to say Angel Reese was doing gang signs. Like, come on, really? Like playing sports? Like, let's knock it off. Kev, do you know anything about it? Or did you hear anything about it?
I heard. It doesn't shock me, though. I've never been a fan of the media.
Mm-hmm.
So I find the media to be prejudiced, racist, biased, all of the above. Yes.
Absolutely. And it's a shame, Kev, that in sports you have two outstanding young talents, and they want to make it personal. You know what I'm trying to say? Like they want to make it like disrespectful, and I just felt like you just tarnished the beautiful game that these women are athletes are showing that they can play this game. And it was the most watched sports event. 6.6 million people watched those two ladies go at each other. And women's basketball, shout out to the women's basketball, have come into their own arena, and bravo to them. So I just wanted to touch that base. Like I said, it was good. It was good to see these talented women. 20-year-old, I love the way Caitlin responded to it. I love the way Angel spoke up for herself. And then, you had the president's wife. She wanted to have both teams come to the White House. That's unheard of. When do we do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, Jill, fall back on this. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's second place don't get invited to the White House. You know what I'm trying to say, Kev? Like,
yeah, but that's kind of the world we're going to, Bill, right? It doesn't shock me, right? Yeah. Everybody's a winner. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody's first place. No.
Yo, and what do you think about that? Like, yo, Kev, that's real talk. We're not gonna stay on this too long, but that's real talk. Like, when you get a trophy for 8th place, that's unheard of to me. That just told me, like, I'm a reward.
Especially because I came in 9th place. I was upset.
Yeah. So why don't you just give a trophy to everybody that just came and played? How about that?
In kindergarten, I get it, right? Like real young, I get it. But you hit a point where, you play to win and you learn how to win.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, you learn how to lose.
Yeah. And you learn how to work harder for something too.
Yeah. You do have to work harder for things. You do have to accept sometimes you lose and how to be a good human being and handle that.
Yeah. Agony of defeat.
Not take my ball and go home, right? I'm, not one of those.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. What's up, Mark? I see you, brother. So Kev, I had a conversation with a man not too long ago after the Nashville shooting. And I know this might be right up your alley, when we talk about stats and things of that magnitude. You've said repeatedly before that mass shootings are like if a black person or a Latin person shoots up a block and multiple people get shot, it's a mass shooting. So the individual and I was talking, and he was like, "Oh yeah, such a terrible thing that there was a mass shooting." Yeah, and I said, "Yeah, I mean it was terrible." And he says, "But the liberals or the left are now want to talk about gun laws." So I said to him, I said, "Well, you do know that most of the mass shootings, like in the schools and things of that, have been in states that you can buy guns legally. The shooter had 3 legal guns and one unlegal gun." So my thing is, I don't have the answer, Kev. I just want to know your thoughts on it. But what can we do? Now, of course, we're both gun owners. So I believe in a person owning a gun unequivocally. But I'm not talking about left and right. That's so irrelevant to me. The bottom line is we had 3 kids and 3 adults that day that weren't bothering anybody. So I just wanted to know what's your thoughts on that. What do you feel?
So there are 2 styles of mass shootings, right? Mm-hmm. That we talk about. One is just the amount of people. So it's 4 or more people shot as one stat of mass shootings, and that is the 2 punks on the street shooting at each other and they miss and hit everybody else, right? There wasn't their intent to shoot 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is I am going to this place to go kill, shoot, hurt numerous people.
Yes.
Those are 2 different styles.
Yes.
The latter is actually incredibly rare. It doesn't happen. The Columbine style doesn't happen often. terrifies the hell out of all of us. The
Yes.
other style, we have tons of it. What state leads the most? I'm going to pull it up on my screen here. I got it next to me. California is number one.
Okay.
Who has tougher gun control laws? Texas and Florida, though, are number 2 and 3. I don't think the gun control laws, tough or not tough, make the difference. Look, New York State had pretty tough gun control, and we had that shooting in Buffalo, right at the Tops supermarket, right, where they let this kid who had problems, and he was a kid, legally go buy guns in New York. Even though we have tough laws, we didn't have them, tough enough. It's a tough one, because it's in red and blue states.
It's in both.
It's not a red-blue issue, and we have to get over that part of. It's not going to be just tougher gun laws. It's not going to be softer gun laws. It's not going to be arm every teacher in a school or arm everybody in a supermarket, right? That's not going to work either, because we've even seen paid professionals, right? The school shooting in Texas where paid police officers did nothing, and they're trained. So how do you think a school teacher is going to react when they have a gun in their hand? And they're not trained, and they're not used to having it, and they're not used to being in situations. So it's a far more complicated thing than blaming one side. It's nobody's side's fault.
Right. And, I agree.
And if we ever actually sat down at the table and figured out the why, like I said, there's 2 styles of school shootings. The ones who intentionally shoot up schools, they're findable. When this one from this last week, she didn't do that in a vacuum. Her rage, she was writing books about it. She was talking about it. Her rage was loud and clear.
Yes.
Nobody was listening. And that's the normal, what a school shooter looks like. They are loud, but we don't have a system to look for them. Right?
Absolutely.
We don't have the ability to. We don't want to impose on somebody's free speech. I mean, I've had long discussions on this. I've been trying to get agencies, law enforcement, to be proactive. It's not easy. It's not that simple. And then the other end is just we have thugs in our streets who we've allowed to run rampant, and unfortunately, they got brave with guns and they shoot far more people.
Yeah. If we sat down at the table, you and I, whomever, you yourself, was able to talk to whomever, what would be some suggestions? I sit back and I think, now I think you and I, we've discussed this before. I feel no one besides maybe law enforcement or prior military should own an AR, right? There's no reason.
I don't even think that.
No, but you see what I'm saying? If there's an exemption, right? I agree with you. But if there's an exemption, it's because we may have touched that gun before. But the thing is, if you have to own an AR, you need to move. You know what I'm saying? Because
I've said it 100 times, Bill. You don't need the gun. You need a realtor.
Absolutely. And when we start looking at these checks, like I said, I'm I have gun licenses in different cities, different states. There's certain state I can go buy a gun in 10 minutes, right?
Yep.
Because one state you can buy it if you have a address and a valid ID to show where you live. You can buy that a gun there for your home protection. Then you can have a concealed carry permit. Have that for both places. New York is very hard, but because of our status, is we get it.
Mm-hmm.
Amelia, hello from Europe. What's up, sis? How are you? What are the gun laws in Europe? Do they have gun laws in Europe? If you can answer that,
you're not having guns in Europe. That's
okay.
Law.
So
Amelia, if you combined all of Europe, the U.S. has far more. It's tenfold the gun violence.
And Nicole said, "I'm gonna put my glasses on, y'all, so don't tease me."
There's no
She says a
legal.
lot of She says a lot of times teachers. Nicole says this. A lot of time teachers have concerns about students, and their concerns go unwarned, unanswered. Wow. Um, oh, and she says in France there are no guns. Wow. Okay. See, that's what's up. How is the crime? If you can answer. Mark also says, I'm back now. Yeah. Mark said, Kevin, Republican states may not report as much, but I agree it shouldn't matter. However, Republicans in Congress and the Senate are aiding in the slaughter of these young kids.
I'll argue that, Mark. I agree to a point with this because I think Republicans are far more into leaving the gun laws like this. But we've had Democrat running the office, Senate, and Congress, and laws didn't change. We have New York State, which is all run by Democrats, and our laws let this kid with a mental defect go buy guns who walked into the top supermarket. There is blame on the other side of the aisle on this. And if I'll still go with, if your first thing is to just blame one side of the aisle, you're not helping. We're not looking for a solution. I can't just sit here and blame one side or the other. We can sit down at the table and kind of have hopefully at one point in life, a real conversation.
Yeah. And so that's why it's going to start with you and I. They don't invite us at the table because the bottom line is we're going to say, let's open your eyes. You know what I'm trying to say? Let's keep it 100. Like, let's have real talk. The bottom line is, like, I'm trying to figure out. I'm just thinking, like, if somebody asked me, well, Bill, what would be your suggestion? And I'll be honest with you, everybody. I'm really stuck because I don't feel, the average John and Jane Q public needs to go and say, oh, okay, you got to get a psychological test to go get a gun. Because I think people can fake that. I think, the background checks, people, of course, no priors. We understand all that. Doesn't make you a law-abiding citizen now. It just means that you did something in the past. And I know a person that had got arrested or open container, and he applied for a gun license, a gun to own in his home, and they told him no, and so he had to fight it, and then it was like when he was 16 years old, the man is 58 years now. So he was able to finally get a gun. He had to, find out what was the reason, but they told him, okay. But
Bill, for me to get my gun permit here, I had to get 3 people who live in the county to write letters for
character reference letters.
3 people who live in the county. And I'm a retired cop.
Yeah.
I still needed 3. And I think that's a good rule.
Yeah.
Because like crazy Bob down the block, I'm not writing a letter for.
And what's so funny?
I'm not writing
it. And I agree with that. It's so funny because maybe, I guess I'm just looking at, New York State, like you're Suffolk or North Suffolk County, right?
Rockland.
Okay, I'm Rockland County.
I'm north.
So let me ask you a question. What's a good time frame that you think a purchaser should be able to purchase a gun? Because to get a character reference letter, that might take. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, please.
So as fast as my prints come back is 1. Right. So if the store wants to do the electronic, if they pay for it, the electronic prints on scene, if we can get that done, those come back in an hour. That's a good start. Yeah. Right. But the permit's 3 hours. For me to get the permit, I mean, it's 3 letters. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I hear the stories of it's an emergency and I need a gun. If you have an emergency that you need to buy a gun, like you're expecting somebody to come to your house in a couple of hours to shoot you, I don't know if going to the store to buy the gun's the answer. Right? Like, I really want to. I want somebody to give me where that story actually happened. It's kind of the story I hear with, the crazy stuff that goes on in New York City, why we don't do the people who steal from stores anymore, the petty larcenies. You can steal $500 from Dwayne Reed. Mm-hmm. The answer I always hear is, well, We don't want to arrest people who are trying to feed their family, just trying to get bread. I ain't never seen a cop arrest somebody for a loaf of bread. Now, Bill, I'm sure it's happened somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an idiot robot cop somewhere who's done that.
Yeah.
But you and I and 99% of the cops we work with, if somebody was getting arrested for stealing a loaf of bread, we would just put the $3 on the table and walked out. And say, yeah. Have a nice. What else do you need? You need milk too? Like, get out of here.
I think you can tell a difference between somebody stealing a loaf of bread to feed their family and a person just stealing
50 bottles of Advil.
The sell. Exactly. It's a whole different thing. You know what I'm saying?
There's a difference between wiping off a shelf,
yes,
and taking some soup.
Yeah, Nicole said there's too much money involved with this gun stuff. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Amelia said there's a huge problem with crime with the suburbs, the projects. In Marcyville, I hope I pronounced it right. There are gangs. A lot of, yes. I think a lot of, she says, a lot of drug dealing. Wow. Are they even trying to do anything about it out there? Mark said there are guns, but only the police and military have them in Europe. He also says, absolutely, Kevin, but those lawmakers, whether it be Dem or Red or Republicans, aren't helping at all. It's deeper than that. She also says, Amelia said, there is also police brutality in France. Wow. Mark also says, I apologize, I'm driving, but once I get him, I'll continue with my 2 cents. Absolutely, Mark. Drive safe.
You can always just call in, Mark.
Yeah.
No, Mark, I agree with you. Like I said, both parties are at fault. If they really wanted a solution, this could be done. And most of them are.
And that's the thing. Like I said, my concern is not John and Jane Q. Public. My concern is the individual that everybody knows is badass crazy. And they're still able, just because they walk in a store and they have a valid driver's license, they can get a gun. That's where my problem at. And then, who knew that this lady, I think trans, that has neither nor or anything to do with what the situation is. So the fact that they mention that is irrelevant to me. It's the fact that she had history, right, Kev, on talking about wanting to do this kind of damage. Also, there was just another man that was caught. I think it was North Florida or North Carolina A&T with over 100 rounds of ammunition, bombs, all kind of shit. And like, yo, where's what's happening? And I'll see, this is where, go ahead, Kath, please.
Here's the other end of this. So I've been on the other side of this, of investigations, proactive. Mm-hmm. And you find somebody, Crazy Bob, he's posting online, I want to do these things, I want to kill people. You go into his home, he's got 6 guns, 50,000 rounds of ammunition, whatever he's got. And he has them legally, whatever that means. Even if they're illegal, it's misdemeanors in your home. It's not really a crime. Mm-hmm. But what do you do with them? See, this is the problem afterwards. So I grab you, Bill, think about going back to being young. How many kids in a schoolyard said, I'm going to kill you to another kid? Mm-hmm. And none of them meant it, except for one in every 10,000 kids who means it. How do you pick that kid out, then help them and force them into mental health? It's a tough process. And like I said, I've seen plenty. What you don't read about is the amount that gets stopped, the amount that get investigated, the amount that people's homes they go into and they take their guns and they meet their families and they bring them to mental health professionals. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more out there of that than there is of shooters, but it's still just not easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody, do any of you out there have any suggestions or comments on this? I mean, what would you do if you were able to sit down with the powers that be and could talk to them and tell them what you would like? Like I said, I know, Nicole, I think you're in a school. Shout out to Yolanda. I see you. Michelle, I know I owe you a text back and a call. I apologize. Just been swamped with a lot of stuff. I didn't forget you though. I'm gonna go back and look at that stuff that you sent me, and we can talk about it. If not today, tomorrow I'll give you a call. Um, Shout out to everybody chiming in. Like I said, Real Talk Chronicles. If any of you all, if you had an idea, if you could sit down with somebody, because too much of anything is not good. You know, too much red, too much blue. Let's get some purple in there and mix it up and have some real conversation. Uh, some people, it's the way they grow up. Like I know some people teach their kids how to shoot at 14 years old. Michelle says, why do you need an assault rifle? Yeah, exactly. Kevin and I both agree. There isn't any reason that I feel somebody should be talking about I'm purchasing an assault rifle. Help me figure this out.
Single shot. If it's a single shot at a time, fine. You want an assault rifle kind of gun? You want to use? You want a rifle for hunting? I'm in. You like doing target practice? I'm in.
Yeah. Like
you want 1,000 rounds a minute? No. I'm all for ranges having those, and you can rent them. You can go to the range, rent it, have at it. Shoot 1,000 rounds. Probably, I think it's fun. Right, a good time.
Yeah, and even if, how about this? Let's say this: if you want to purchase an assault rifle, it has to stay at a range.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
But I still go with the argument. Still is in the end, like we can get rid of every assault rifle in this country, we will barely change the gun homicide numbers. Our gun homicide numbers, like we think of the mass shootings, and they're horrible and they're horrific, but statistically, they're this little of the amount of deaths by gun.
Right. We understand. I mean, and listen,
so getting rid of illegal handguns. We can
go down a rabbit hole, Kev. We can definitely go down a rabbit hole. So the bottom line is the big picture is, how do we stop guns? People are going to do this. People are going to get guns. The problem is people, like you said, the mass shootings, the real ones that we're talking about today, are so far and few in between. But they're so effective because it's like, wait a minute, they're happening in schools, grocery stores, places where people, just want to go and sometimes I catch myself and I'm like, yo, do I carry my gun when I go out? And, I like, who wants to live like that? Because, always trying to be on point. Like, I don't even want to get into any road rage. You know what I'm trying to say, Kev? Like, like the fact that you have to feel like that is crazy. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicle. Like Michelle said, what are you hunting? She said zombies. Exactly. Milia said, great question. We need to ban guns everywhere except police and army. This is crazy that in 2022, there are so many gun shootings in schools, children, families, and world are having PTSD because of these crimes. When is the nightmare over? I get it. I get it.
And just to give you a little bit of stats, because I've done a bit of research on this in the past, before this school shooting, since 1989, there's only been 14.
14 right, what,
so since mass shootings in schools where the person went in to kill kids, right? That was their sole purpose. I am going there not to get even with my ex-girlfriend and I shoot her and I kill 3 other people by accident. This is what we just had in the last week, right? This is that style shooting. There's only, now with that one is only 15, but previous to that one, since 89, it's only 14 and 221 deaths. I hate saying it that way as only because you just said it, Bill. It's they're shocking. They scare the hell out of us. There's not a parent who has a child in school who hasn't thought about it. But statistically, they're rare.
Yeah. What's up, Doris? Oh, Doris says, hey, Bill, signed on late. Oh, appreciate you, sis, anytime. Capricorns rock. You know how we do. She said, did you hear that you no longer need a permit to purchase in North Carolina? Like, that's absurd to me. That's crazy. Like, so you just go. So how is it, Doris? You just go in there and say, I want to buy a gun. And what do you have to show any kind of ID or anything of that magnitude? And listen, anybody that's watching this, I'm going to tell you, just like I tell my wife, I'll tell anybody, it's your right to purchase a gun if you can. Learn how to use it, right? Because my thing is, and Kevin and I have been taught, Kevin and I are 6 months apart from coming out the academy, but we've been taught by some old school people that I appreciate their knowledge. I'm so glad that we came out in that era, that you better have a damn good reason pulling that gun out, right, Kev? That's what they always told us, right? If you pull that gun out, you better have a damn good reason. And I
better
tell
be ready
anybody,
to use it at that point.
Absolutely. Like Kevin and I are not from the school of pull a gun out and escalate it to a point of I've given you the ultimate fear. That's a problem. We'll come and try to talk you out of it, talk you down, calm you down. We'll bust your ass. We'll do all that first. We'll rather bust you up and send you with some breaks.
Bill, how many of these videos have you watched in your life of these felony stolen car stops, where the cops in other places they stop, they have like 6 cops standing behind their cars with guns out, get out of the car, walk backwards. We didn't do that. We just ran in there and grabbed the guy, dragged him out the window or the door, and quickly cuffed him up. And
and let me just say this,
was a different attitude.
Yeah, I sit back and because now I'm in a journalist role. Kevin is too, and he does a lot of other things. I get all these videos that people send me about police and stuff like that. First and foremost, anybody out there listening, if an officer pulls you over and asks you to get out the car or give you a lawful order, comply.
Whether you agree with them or not.
Yeah. Stop with the I can say what I want to say shit. That shit's not flying, because you're just going to go down a rabbit hole and the shit is going to get ugly. So comply. It's better to find out where this goes. And I'm not telling you, please understand, I'm not telling you not to speak up for yourself. But what I'm telling you to do is comply along with it. Get out the car. Why, officer? I asked you to. Okay, no problem. All right, I'm getting out the car. Why am I out the car, officer? Do you have anything in the car? You don't know where this officer's going to. You don't know what his mentality is. I told somebody the other day, I said, the police department is I see the comments coming in, and I'm going to read with everybody. The police department is the only job that I know of that you don't have to be trained or prepared to be a police officer, but you can be a police officer. Like, there's no punk test. Like, let me take your temperature. Let me check your vein and see if you're a man or a woman that you can do this job. You could do this job and be scared shitless and get a gun, and you're going to carry that same energy.
We worked with some cowards over the years.
Absolutely.
Real, like people who were just terrified to stand on a footpost.
Yes. And that's my point. I don't know what the criteria is right now. I mean, things are about ethnicities and rights and stuff like that. I'm all for that. But still, I've worked with people of color, and I've had a white officer supervisor tell me, he says, yo, be careful. And I understood what he meant, because I understood, jumped out on a car stop, speeding, high volume, reckless. We cut him off. I jump out. I'm handling my business. I'm looking at this dude with multiple people in the car, and I look back, and he's deceased now, and I don't want to talk ill of the dead, but I look back, and he's still fumbling with the keys to cut the car off. And I got a situation here. And it just took that white supervisor said to me, I'll tell you the names later, Kelly, if you want to know. I don't want to have to mention them now. But I look back and I was like, yo, he's right. This dude ain't about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where he at with this. But I got a situation here. If it wasn't for me being that dude handling my business, showing them that I could take control of the situation. I don't know where that would have went. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti. And we appreciate you all chiming in and stuff like that. Mike Jones is in the building. V Webb, I see you. Let me read some comments and stuff like that, because all your comments and statements are very important to me. Michelle says, I hate carrying mine. I don't shoot anybody's child. Exactly. Joe, he says, what needs to happen is that we need to go back to old school values. Parents need to rule as dictatorship and not let be friends. Absolutely. We have, and I'm saying absolutely because I agree with you. We have lost the fear of all things, God included. Absolutely. Cousin Kendra, my cousin in the building, she said, it would be interesting to see if a sense of community amongst people, neighborhoods, families correlate to gun violence specifically. It just seems like there are so many lonely, incredibly stressed and angry people who have no outlet. I'm going to comment on that too, because Lois, how are you, sis? Long time. She says only 14 since 1990. I think it was 1980, whatever.
80,
yeah, she says really that shouldn't be only. Doris says they will go do a background check only. People are purchasing like going to a candy store. I know they are. Amelia said, right, you're right, Bill. Nicole also says, I know that's right. Hey, Nicole, what's going on? Michelle says TN governor's wife, best friends were killed in Nashville, and his response was, now is not the time to place blame. These politicians don't even care if their only family are killed as long as they keep getting the dollar. Yeah, Michelle said, you are spot on tonight, Bill. Hey, Michelle James, appreciate you. Mark said, guys, as we state, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans whose arsenal of weapons is greater than some police departments. The other side of America is arming up for war. We may see what's going on, but so many don't have a clue. Absolutely. Milia said, I was almost arrested in a Bentley in New York City with some friends from Jamaica, and the police cops were so racist. They did tell me that they were going to take my press pass if I was going to write an article about it. Then I was chased by the cops at a protest in Brooklyn. And let me tell you something. That's my homie right there, man. I met her in New York, and she comes back and forth, but she supports. I appreciate you, sis, for supporting me so much. You are aces. I'm sending a big heart, love, all that from Europe. That's what's up. Nicole, hey, Bill, what's going on, sis? And this is my point. We can't change the mentality. I say this all the time, Kev. Love you too, sis. I say this all the time. We can't change the mentality of the people getting on a job, and it won't change until you and I are probably deceased. And it's sad to say that, because there has to be. People have prejudices. We understand that people view things differently. We get that. There's still a way of black, white. We just saw that in 2023, a game of basketball where a black woman, a black girl, she's a woman now, mimics a white woman, and she gets called all kind of thugs and everything else. And then the white woman has to come out and speak up and says, yo, it's just basketball. She didn't do anything wrong. I'm a fan of homegirl. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, thank you, Caitlin. Yes, thank you for speaking up. You know what I'm saying? And then you got people like Keith Overman that come out and calling her out of name. Like, yo, real whack, bro. Real whack. Like, this is basketball. Like, this is where, and don't get me wrong, a lot of times, I'm not deviating anybody. I just want to say this. People always say where athletes should not bring politics into sports. Listen up. You leave them no choice. When you start talking about them, this is the platform that they have. Like I said, I've seen people talk about Aaron Judge so bad because he wore a Black Lives Matter shirt. He's half black. Did y'all know that? You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes a lot of athletes really don't have the choice. And some really feel a certain way when you have white athletes wearing these shirts. That's what the team representative says. That's what they do. So I'm not here to say neither nor. I know in hockey recently there was something they wanted them to wear the gay shirt or gay pride or something like
gay pride shirt. There's a player or two throughout the league who just refused.
Yeah, and okay, I mean, do we hold him? Do we say he's homophobic? Maybe that's not what he believes in. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But do we hold people accountable for things like that? Have we gotten too soft as a country, yo? You know what I'm saying? Like Kev, if you say something crazy that you have a right to say, the first thing a person's gonna say, yo, you're racist. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
you can't.
I've told you this 100 times. It is my biggest fear of doing this thing from day one with you.
Yeah.
I can say one thing that somebody takes one clip of, and there's, Kevin's a racist, or Kevin's a, homophobic, or Kevin's this, or Kevin's that, and it's, perception of a clip. It is why I think good people don't want to speak out. It's why I think at this point good people don't want to become politicians. Right? It's a tough world where everybody is waiting for a gotcha. Like they're all, the vultures are all always hanging over every one of us and waiting for that moment to strike and go, we got you. And they're going to tear you apart. We love to tear human beings apart. We've lost our sense of humor. We've lost, just taking a deep breath. And, I've talked about this, Bill. Could you imagine if everything we ever said to each other in a locker room was recorded? Right?
We lose our jobs.
I'd never be able to get a job again.
None of us. Let me tell you something.
My kids wouldn't be able to go to school.
Listen,
kid, and I still
the things that we've said and joked about other ethnicities.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, and it's sad because humor was brought on talking about other ethnicities and stuff like that. Like, just jokes. I was looking at a comic the other day, and he was just saying how people of color use the F word in front of a sentence, and then white people say the thing, and then they say the effing, and then he was like, yo, you're racist. And he was like, yo, wait a minute. He just said it another way, and I'm a problem. You know what I'm trying to say? Listen, I think there's a difference in between racist and having real talk. And let me thank you in front of everybody right now, Kevin. I asked you to be a part of this, and you never backed down, and you came and you took the fire. And I used to tease everybody. I used to tease Kevin. I said, you know how many friends you done lost fucking with me? You know what I'm saying? But listen, the one thing you got a real one. So bottom line is, if they go, they go. So real talk. I appreciate all of you chiming in. Shout out to Danny. I see you, brother. Former 2-8 in the house. Real respect. And what's so funny? This world would be so great if we had maybe more yous and Amelia's, and people out here that are chiming in, trying to make this world better. Shout out. I see you, Mo. So if any of you have a solution to how could we change these mass shootings, and Kev will tell you, I've reached out to so many different of my white friends. They ain't coming on. They're not coming on because they don't want to say what they really feel, even if it's racist. Because some may be racist. It is what it is. And some may just have a real talk about it. There's some that just have it from I'm going to say a law enforcement eye. And then some of it have it from a white eye. I think we all talk from our ethnic eye, what we've been through, what we've experienced. Kevin said before, and this is not about patting Kev on the back today, but he said it before. He knows if we go through a Mississippi, what's going to happen to me may not going to happen to him. Look, what's up, little man? You saw all that hair on that head? Exactly. Go ahead. Do what you got to do, Kev.
I got to go for him. He's not feeling well. I right back.
Okay, go ahead. So Michelle said the solutions are available if the people making the financial decisions that are the problem. I agree with that. I mean, how many of you all feel like this is just a money game? And let me tell you something, guns is the best business in the world. You know, shit, I think in my next life, I'm gonna own a gun store because that's where it's at. Good evening, Cheryl. How are you? That's what it's at. So for those that are just coming in, the topics at hand that we were just discussing was the mass shootings. And if you were able to sit down at the table with the powers that be, what solutions would you give to help solve mass shootings? Because the bottom line is most of the mass shootings that are happening in the schools are at states where the gun laws are the lenient. And, you know, when we talk about mass shootings, they do clump in, you know, communities of color. One person shooting at one person, but he shoots three others because he can't aim. And there's 4 people shot. So they clump all that as a mass shooting. But we would know, for us, we're talking about the mass shootings of innocent people, 9 years old, 3 kids 9 years old, one principal, a substitute teacher, and a custodian engineer died for somebody that's been planning this for a long time. There was just another individual, and I think Doris, if you're still there, was it in North Carolina? He goes to school. He's got caught with 100 rounds of ammunition, multiple guns, bombs, and all kind of shit. Where are you going, you crazy son of a gun? And excuse me if that wasn't politically correct to say that, but where are you going, dude? Where you're going to hurt people like that? That makes no sense to me. How do we stop it? Yeah, do I feel that we definitely got very soft? I mean, like I said, I'm all for a parent whipping their child's behind. Listen, I'm not for all that timeout. I'll give you timeout. You ain't got to go to the corner. Let's start right here. Start tearing that ass up. You know what I'm saying? From all of us who've been beat and stuff like that, do we have a little cuckoo with us? Absolutely. Because now you'd be like, yo, put the belt down. Don't hit me. Wait a minute. That takes me back to my childhood. How many of us have had conversations with somebody and you'd be like, yo, I remember when my mother or my father did this, or grandma told you, go get the switch. Like, how traumatizing is that? It was like, yo, go get the switch off the tree. He was like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Listen, get your own punishment tool. Yeah, that was a little extra insult.
Yeah. But you know what's so funny? I think we all grew up with the fear. For those that have been reprimanded like that, we all grew up with the fear was that I don't want that smoke. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, yo, I don't listen. I don't want that
with fear, Bill. There's nothing wrong with fear. It's a good motivator.
And that's what's happened now. People don't even fear getting arrested. Shout out to everybody chiming in. Thank you. I'm glad you're doing better, Cheryl. Mo Weather's in the building. Michelle said, but we didn't turn around and want to go out and shoot up the town. Not at all. You know, we had the whole, I hate you, mommy, I hate you, daddy. We did that until, you know, the next day, and then they took us to Burger King or McDonald's or, or something and hugged us. But we understand, you know, I never forget, my father tore me up one day. And then he said to me, you know why I did it? I ain't answer crazy. I was like, I think, I don't know. You know, I got the answer. He was like, yo, I don't want you to be a failure and stuff like that. I don't want you to go down this road. So I get it. Milia said, I was totally disgusted by the Republican from Nashville, Republican Andy August posting with his, and at Christmas, every member of the family was holding a gun. How sick is that? We are in 2022. How can we stop this? Yeah, exactly, Mo. You said it under the breath. Edwina King, I see you, sis. You're right. And then he was having an argument with a gentleman, and he talked about his solution. I'm so glad you brought that up, Amelia. his solution was, hold on, everybody, excuse me. I see you. I see you. Okay, cool. Definitely. Okay, got you. So his solution was arm the teachers. We don't have to do that. We're not going to do that. Kevin has to go in a few minutes. Just any questions or comments you have for Kevin? I'll stay on for a few minutes more just to close out. But definitely, Kevin got to take care of little man. He definitely needs some love and attention right now tonight. Danny said, unfortunately, you have people with mental issues in this country. I have access to a firearm that's dangerous. I think once you have a mental issue, if you go into a database and find out if you have a gun, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's shame for the people that say, that have mental issues, and you're still able to work in the society, but you're not supposed to have a gun. How many people can go into road rage and I mean, think about all the people. Let me say this before you go, Kevin. You can comment, and I know you got to move. For all the people that have, I'm going to say this with affection, have a glitch in a matrix. At sometimes, nobody would have guns because they would take them away from everybody, damn near. Because road rage, prejudices,
locker room talk. If everything we said in life was recorded, you and I wouldn't get a gun license.
Exactly. Nicole says, question: the shootings that have happened in the schools, are they public or private schools? I'm inquiring based upon access, entry, or the school grounds. Go ahead, Kev. I'll let you answer that. And then Colin also says,
it's a mixture. That recent one was a private one. It was a very private school, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Going back to, you mentioned something earlier about there's no punishment, there's no things for people. We're right now at a time where these kids on the street coming out with guns, doing shootings, doing robberies. There's no punishment, and you got to punish them. I'm sorry, there's no other thing you can do but punish them, and they have to have fear. They have zero fear. I talked to some kids who've gotten arrested with guns, and their answer is the old school what cops used to give of, I'd rather carry that gun illegal and take my chance of being tried by 12 than carried by 6 mentality. Yeah, these kids got to go to jail. I'm sorry if you're going to lose a lot of kids. I'm all for, you do your couple of years, and in a few years after that, I'm all for wiping a slate clean later on in life. Like if you show you've done good in years after your arrest, like
10 years.
Yeah, I got no problem. We can play with numbers on what it should be, but you can't front load it and say, we'll just give him another chance. We'll just give him you give the kid a chance who did something stupid, but you did something violent with a gun. There's no second chance. You got to do time. Like I got no patience for that. You're putting everybody else's life in danger. No, like there's no. The kids who got into, like there's occasionally it happens when you get into a street fight, fists, and something really bad happens, and a person gets charged in due time. But it's different. Yeah. You're stealing from a store. I still think you should spend the night in jail, but that's about it. Like, we don't have to abuse them. But these kids with guns, there's no break for that. And if they knew, there'd be no break for that, they wouldn't have it. People are quite knowledgeable out there about like carrying excessive amounts of cocaine on the street. They know it's going to get them jail time, so they avoid it like the plague, right? They don't want it in their home. They want it hidden. Nobody's afraid to have a gun. People are more afraid to have a kilo of coke on them than they are having, a pistol on the street. Right?
Yeah,
and that's just, they should be scared to have a gun. That's the society I want to live in. I want thugs to be afraid to have a gun. Bill, at the heyday of our career, most of the street punks kept a gun nearby.
Yeah, they didn't keep it on that person. Absolutely.
They were dead scared to have it on them because they knew there was a good chance they were going to get locked up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So these young punks today have zero fear. Well, we got to go back to putting fear in them. And the legislators, the mayor, the governor all have to jump behind us and just say, F you, we're doing this. And if this is the
Yeah.
chance you want to take, I'm sorry. And I'm for, like, when that kid goes away to jail, we want to force them to learn, to become educated, teach them a trade. I'm in for spending more money in the jail. I'd rather teach a kid carpentry in state prison than give him the weight room, right? Like, I actually prefer him.
Give him a trade.
Give him a trade. I'm all for it. I'm all for spending that money.
Right.
Teach him how to garden. Teach him how to, become a shoemaker. Like, you ever go get your shoes fixed? Those guys are 70 years old and up. It's a dying.
And here's something for people that don't even know, that a lot of people that come out of being incarcerated are your so-called gym instructors, because when you're incarcerated, you can get your certification to be a gym instructor. A lot of people don't even know that. It doesn't hold them against them. Makes them bad, but here are people that are able to come out and get a profession and feed their families. So kudos to them.
Yeah, you can fix potholes. You can, am I going to trust you in my home? No. Am I a businessman going to trust you with the cash register of my business? No. It's going to take many years to get to that point. But you can break pavement. You can fill potholes. You can, there's new construction. You can do carpentry. You can fill, you can learn to do sheetrock. There's tons of things you can do. You can pick freaking strawberries in a field for all I care. There's something you can do, but we got to teach them. We got to teach them and force them to, and I don't even care if they come out, if as government, we give them a job for 6 months, right? You see that, was it Ready, Willing, Able, the John Doe? Like, you see those guys going around. Where is it? John Doe?
Right.
Isn't that what they're called? Right. There are people who are getting out, who had issues in life, and this entity gives them a job. They sweep the streets.
Yeah.
We got plenty
and they also
of
did
dirty
that for the
streets, my
people that
friend.
was on Section 8 too. They did that for the people that was on Section 8 too.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having them walk around the park, every park in the city, and clean parks out. There's nothing like there's I don't care about spending money if we have a plan to turn that kid around. But right now, what we're doing is we're just saying, it's not fair. We've locked up too many of them. Now we're not going to lock up. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You're a thug with a gun. Go to jail. Goodbye.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. If a person had the fear of carrying a gun illegally or using it, and they was talking about 30 years, I think a lot of people will think kind of like, what I'm saying? And we're not talking about unforeseen circumstances. God forbid somebody, broke in your house, you took a gun and you shot him, or somebody raped your sister. You know what I'm saying? To me, there's certain leniencies and things, you know what I'm saying? But just you arguing over some people, and I heard this drip music is crazy, and people are just being so disrespectful. These young people, I don't know who their parents. Like I said, somebody said here earlier, said, let's hold the parents accountable. Let's just start. You know what? Your child commits a crime, we throw your ass in jail too, because his ass should have been home by a certain time. Listen, I don't want to hear from any parent that their child is 18, 17 years old, 16, and he's out to 10 and 12 o'clock at night, and he's not going to school. He has on Air Jordans or whatever, the better sneakers and the best phones, and he's not going to school. And then you're going to talk about what I'm going to do with him. What you going to do with him? Really? Yeah, all right. What I'm going to do with you? How about that? So he'll have to get a job or something, because he ain't going to stay in this house. Kev, I know you got a boogie, bud.
I got to go. Yep.
All right, everybody. That's Kev. Thanks, Kev. I'm gonna rock with y'all for a few more minutes. I'm gonna read some comments and make some statements. Go ahead, Kev, man. Take care, little man.
I appreciate you all. Everybody have a good night.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. Bye.
All right. Yeah, man. This is Real Talk. This is what it is. Yolanda said, Kevin is so true. He's right. Look today, young NYPD officer shot in the leg. Yeah, officer just got shot today, right? On duty, young man shot cop while cop responded to a dispute on city bus. Like, really? Shooting at a police officer? What the hell is going on? It's true. It comes from home. Parents need to know what's going on with their kids at home. Hey, yo, Yolanda, I look at some of these clips and videos that people send me. Yo, you know what kind of damage we would do to somebody talking crazy to us like that? It would be unheard of. You know, Mo, you already know. Mark said the problem, guys, you make too much sense. The clowns in office need to listen to this podcast. Exactly, broadcast. Mo said this goes back generations when they took all the programs away. Absolutely. Michelle says that won't work. They do that here in Tennessee for truancy, and half the parents themselves have records. Wow. Yolanda said, true, Bill. I hear some parents don't even go in their bedrooms. That's crazy. I pay the rent. That room is my room. Exactly. I mean, what? Who move, punk? You know what I'm saying? Or punkette? What are you doing in here? Who are you talking to on the phone? Turn the lights off. Take your little ass to bed. You know, it's not happening. River said they created a monster and expect someone else to fix it. Exactly. I tell anybody, my personal feeling is when they told us to stop reprimanding our children, Roscoe said, stop using situations for convenience. Absolutely. Vera said, yeah, some get their barber licenses too. You're right, Vera. He said, he is correct, Kevin. They kept it under the tire wells. Absolutely. Michelle also says, question, do you think the jail systems are too lax, meaning prisoners have cable, access to social media, etc.? Maybe if the prisons were like those out of the country prisons, they maybe crime will decrease, like they show lockup aboard. Absolutely. I think, listen, if a person, like you see how the old movies where a person was sitting in a cell and all they slid his ass with some bread and some beans and a tin cup of some water. And then the next thing you know, you see a rat come in the room. I bet you person know he don't ever want to go back to that kind of life again. We seem like the judicial system, the jail systems have rewarded people for committing crimes. And then people don't mind becoming career criminals because they in there with their friends and they in there with that life and they feel like that's what they want to be and stop. How do people are more comfortable in the penitentiary than they are out here in the street trying to survive and get an education and go to school? That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Not at all. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I hope you enjoying this. Please share, subscribe to it. Adora said the 6-year-old kid that shot the teacher will not be punished. That I don't understand. His little badass. What you can, little boy. Listen, I'm sending you to the roughest schools. I want you to understand what it's like, or wherever the detention, you're going somewhere. Spofford, your little behind is going to learn. What they used to say today, you're going to learn today. You know what? I apologize. I should have been a judge, but I'd have been tearing shit up. You know what I'm saying? Danny said, why is that the NYP does not use the federal laws and trigger lock in these kids so they can know that having a firearm illegally is no joke? Good question, bro. Good. Let's see. Michelle said 9/11 tapes reveals that there were 5 staff members that were armed in the school, but they were hiding. What kind of shit is that? And that's why this is my point. And this is what I said earlier about NYPD and people that sign up for police officers, not just NYPD, people sign up for Danny, Yolanda, no, we all know. Just because you take the test and pass the test, you're given a gun. It doesn't mean you have the heart to do this job. And that's any ethnicity. If you don't have the heart to do the job, it is. Can you picture a firefighter that there's a fire and he's like, nah, I'm saying that shit, it's hot, yo. I'm not going in there, yo. Jump out the window. I'm not going up there. You're a firefighter. And that's going to segue into my closing thoughts. A person that works construction, building buildings, talking about I'm afraid of heights. You're in the wrong profession, bro or lady. If you can't get on that damn that rail up in the sky with just a beam and a rope holding your ass, you're in the wrong profession. Knock it off. Colin said, are the gun manufacturers the same as the bullet manufacturers? I don't know. That's a good question. I'll try to get that answer for you. I really will. Nicole's the question, the shootings that have happened in the schools, are they public? Oh, yeah, she asked that. We know the school shooting that just happened recently was private. I think it was private in the sorts of what is deemed private. But, this is where I differ from the mass shootings and schools to the crime in the street. Kevin says they merged the numbers together. Crime and mass shootings are different. Even though mass shootings is a crime in these schools, but it's different to me. It's a whole different mindset. The fact that you're sitting there and you're premeditated, you're going to a school to shoot kids and teachers is unheard of. Unheard of. This is going to segue my closing remarks to you all. And I really want your thoughts on this, and we'll pick it up next week. I have a problem, and I wish Kevin would have been able to stay on. Julia said, yes, the gun manufacturers are also the makers of ammo. Thank you, Junis. So Collins, that's your answer. He said, yes, they are. I have a statement. This is my personal feelings. And I'd like to know what a lot of people, hey, Edwina, what's up, big sis? She says, prior to the 90s, they were allowed to get an education in prison, which put a big dent in the recidivism and crime in the neighborhoods that they returned to. Now they only learn to be better criminals. Absolutely. If you all go back to last week, Wednesday show, I had 3 phenomenal guests on. I had the judge. I had a young lady out of Massachusetts, and I had another person that worked for the Fortune Society. Please, I'm going to post that clip on YouTube, the YouTube on my Facebook page, because all of you are my Facebook friends. Please watch that. It was phenomenal. I wanted Kevin to also understand that too, because they talked about reform and stuff like that. Edwina said those states with school violence need to include school safety officers with metal detectors as the front door, like New York City do. I'm just saying, exactly. What I wanted to say is that, yeah, I'll definitely post it. And Michelle said both Nashville was private, but UVal was public. Okay. Yes, I'm definitely going to post it. As soon as I get off, I'm going to post that clip. I have a problem. I have a personal problem with, what's up, Kev? Yush, what's up, my brother? I have a problem when people said, Kevin and I, we had this conversation when he talked about the Nashville officers, and he said they were heroes. And I was like, heroes? That's their job. Maybe to a higher scale, but that was their job. If I was working, that would have been my job, to go in there and save lives and try to take out that individual. It's just as we've gotten soft on crime and raising our children, I think we get carried away with giving kudos to officers for doing their job. We take an oath to protect and serve, and I'll pick this up next week if we have the time. We'll take an oath to protect and serve. Now, mass shootings is a total different than pulling somebody over and getting a gun collar. And Danny and Yolanda know what I'm talking about. But if we got in a shootout in the street and we were able to shoot the perpetrator or apprehend him, are they calling us a hero? We get a little medal on our thing. We might get a Commander's Day or something like that. but nobody's calling us a hero. They just said, good job, and keep it pushing. I took pride in doing what I did. I had no problems doing what I did. Yolanda and Danny we all worked together in the same building. Some days you're chasing the person with the gun. Some days the person with the gun is pointing at you and you're fighting. It depends on who you were and how you went. Trust me. I know a sergeant, dude had a gun. He let me chase him. You understand what I'm saying? Soft is soft, no matter who you are. So, like I said, I just have a personal problem. I'm not saying an officer should not be recognized for his heroism, but I don't think because he did what he took an oath. He raised his right hand. Anybody that's a police officer knows what I'm talking about. You have to raise your hand and take an oath to protect and serve. You know, it comes with the job. I know when I put that blue uniform on, there was a chance that I could lose my life. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to lose my life, but I know there's a chance. It's just like the firefighters, anybody, you know, you run in a building, there might be a chance that you may not be able to make it out. God forbid. So I want to talk about that. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. You know, we'll pick back up on it. Doris said, exactly, Bill. Everybody is a hero these days. Exactly. Michelle said, there's one big difference. I don't think that there has been a majority Black school that had experienced a mass shooting. I guess I don't even have the answer to that, Michelle. Mark said, you're the epitome of unselfish valor. Way too many get praised for a job that they sign up for. It's all part of the job or mission. Yeah, I mean, like Mark, you're a military man. I can thank you for your service, right? I don't even know if you were in war or but the bottom line, I'm still thanking you for your service, right? But if you were in war, you signed up for that shit. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And we can even talk about the mentality of some police officers too. They'll respect a person, some of a military person, faster than they'll respect a retired individual. Colin says, I agree with you, Bill. Do you think that nurses should be called heroes for their work during the COVID pandemic? Absolutely. But that's their job. That's their job. The only reason why they get a historic thing on it is because they were working hours with no relief. They were doing things that they're expressing their putting their I guess their lives with against a pandemic, a disease that nobody even knew the answer. But the bottom line is they took the job. There was a chance. I think nurses have to take an oath too. Kendra, if you're on here, do you have to take an oath? Because when you become a nurse, or any nurses on here, do you have to take an oath? I mean, I'll call you. I thank you for your service, but you know what's so funny? You're still in the line of saving lives. You know what I'm saying? So I feel you, Colin. Like when you sign up for these jobs that save lives. Ephraim, what up, baby? Yes. So yes, you did. So you understand. There's a possibility that you working in a hospital can catch some shit that kill you. Do I call you a hero for that? Shit. I mean, you know, Mark said three tours, bro. Iraq and Afghanistan, combat medals and all, but I signed up for it. The 911 happened. Absolutely. See, that's my point. Like, yo, I salute you, brother. You know, you my dude. But, you know, you signed up for it. You know, so we need to kind of get back to appreciating all or none. Now, yes, those officers were, and how do I even fix my mouth to say they were brave enough to go inside the school? It's their job. It's their job. I'm glad they're able to come out unscathed, and they did their job. They did what they were supposed to do. But now I'm going to call them a hero? Now, like Mark alluded to for him, give him all the medals. All the medals. Should they get a promotion? All that. I want him to get all that smoke. All that. Bump in pay, days off, whatever. You can carry any gun you want. You know what I'm saying? Anything that shows appreciation. I'm with it. But I'm not going to say you're a hero. I'm going to say you did your damn job. You're a good dude. I respect you. You got balls, you know, or a lady, you got balls too. Anybody, you know. Yolanda said maybe it's the heroism of saving lives. Maybe. Yolanda, I don't know. I just feel like we're rewarding people for doing their jobs. Yolanda, when we ran down to 9/11, that was probably one of the most proudest times of being on the job, because everybody loved us because we were going in to save lives. Like, yo, when we were digging and we found a body, we were heroes. But that's what we signed up to do. Now, we weren't in construction, but we were digging in rocks and bricks and all that. You know what I'm saying, Yolanda? You was there. We were digging up bodies out of rubbish, and concrete and all that. 6 months straight every day. People say, thank you for my service. I'm like, yeah, thank you. I signed up for it, though. Now, I didn't sign up for digging rocks, but I signed up for saving lives. And now today, how many years later, Yolanda, we still go get tested to see if we got any kind of bacteria or stuff in our system. Yolanda said, yeah, true. It's true, Bill. Yep, 9/11 was very sad. Yep. Savani said, wow, 6 months? Wow, exactly. 6 months down there. I got pictures. I post them every 9/11. I don't even post the devastation, the pictures with all the devastation that I've seen and witnessed. And thank God that anything I don't even have any chemical destruction going on in my body from that. And trust me, they look. They ask, oh, do you get this? You got that? No. And I feel like they fishing so much because I guess I only know it keeps the funding going for that kind of thing. But, yeah. So was I a hero that he helped carry a person from under the rocks? Okay. Was I a hero I got shot at on 125th Street? What happened? We still lost 8 people to a fire that the person started a fire as he was shooting back at me. So, I mean, like, heroic. There's officers that I've seen during that shootout that was on, when them bullets started whistling past their head, they was rolling on the floor, on the ground like a baby. Shit was real. Yep. Was I a hero chasing a guy in the Bronx that had a gun, that we was in the building together? I don't know. The guy that tried to spit the razor blade out on me. So, when I started having these conversations, I signed up for it. Signed up. Curtis, like you said, you worked in the morgue, all body parts brought there. Absolutely. Nicole said, if we look at the definition of a hero, it could have a different meaning for some. Admiration, your courage, your compassion. Absolutely. Kim just said, well, look at the pandemic. We were the first ones in the faces treating those with a new virus. It was part of the job, and I respect those healthcare workers who quit during that time if it was too much, but it was our expectation and calling. And that's what I'm saying, because I get it. I've told you, yo, I thank you for what you did. Yo, that was crazy. And there's some people that feel like they didn't sign up for that. They just signed up for thermometers and aspirins. You know what I'm saying? Hey, sweetie. They just signed up for thermometers and aspirins and blood pressure. And let me check you, putting the shit about the, yo, that's all they wanted to do. Okay. Then you need to work in a little clinic or some shit. But when you go work in that hospital, all bets is off. All bets is off. Yeah, like I say, Ali, I know you worked in a morgue. Exactly. Colin said a fireman who runs into a burning building and saves a life is not a hero. He did his job. He didn't go above his call of duty. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, what could deem heroic? Maybe a car speeding down the street and I run in the street and push the old lady or the man or the baby out the way and I get hit. Still might deem I did my job. My job is to save lives. We could definitely pick this back up again. It was just my thought. Kevin and I, we got into it about it in our little private chat. And Mark said, Hollywood has given us a vision of what they believe a hero action. Reality is exactly what you said. Do your job. Exactly. I can't listen. I can't call it. I think, I've seen people in these chats or people that have been working at a desk for their whole career talk about, I put my life on the line. When? Where? Shuffling papers? You wore a uniform and you didn't even wear it. You was a civilian with a gun. So cut the caca, yo. Knock it off. Yolanda, he said, I'll speak for him, and then I'll want him to bring it back up. We'll bring it back up there. He said that they're heroes because it was different than just arresting somebody with a gun or getting in a little shootout in the street or whatever. He felt they were heroic, or heroism. I was like, knock it off. Knock it off. Nah. Let me tell you something. When Kevin and I used to work together in SNU, and we were on roofs, jumping from roofs, chasing people or trying to do surveillance and doing all kind of stuff. I'm damn near scared of heights now, but the stuff I probably was scared then, but all the stuff we were doing, if my ass would have fell, if my ass would have fell, they wouldn't have called me no hero for trying to get no drug dealers off the street. Then somebody would say, well, what you doing on the roof? Nobody told your ass to go up there. So I don't get it. Yolanda said, yeah, I thought he would. Absolutely. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, so everybody tune in. I will post that link with the phenomenal people I had last week. I'm working on something good. I don't even want to jinx it and mention it. I'm working on bringing on somebody that can give us some insight into the jail system. Junior said, hello, I was scared of heights until I came on the job. Absolutely. People was like, yo, let's go upstairs. Let's go to the roof looking for what? I was just like thinking about like, yo, wait a minute. At the time I had my hair, had my fresh cut. I'm on the roof. On the top of a roof where the ledge is just like a curb. And I'm looking down to see if these little punks are selling drugs. Man, come on. I don't even know how I still did some shit like that. Exactly. I'm scared of heights. Me too. Shit. I'll be looking down the steps like, oh, okay, 1 foot in front of the other. You know what I'm trying to say? Yo, everybody, I appreciate you. Yo, Yolanda, I'm going to post that. Give me a few on my page. Thank you all. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. The weather's changing. Be careful. One day it's hot. One day it's cold. Raining in New York. What's so funny? Michelle Bill said, don't forget to call me. I really want your opinion on my nephew's situation. Absolutely. Give me, I'll look at it tonight and I'll call you tomorrow. Okay. So will you be able to talk during the day? And I think I text you my number too. So everybody, appreciate you. Love you. Respect you more. I'll talk to you later. Okay.